All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to whomever is watching this joint SiteVision webinar. This webinar will be recorded and we will have this up later for viewing afterwards. Just a little, there's a Q&A section, so if you have questions, go ahead and type your questions in that Q&A, and we will try and answer your questions as much as possible. So this webinar today is a joint webinar between Seiler Geospatial and Seiler Design Solutions to talk about MGIS data visualization with Trimble SiteVision. Just give you a little bit background of who we are on the geospatial team. Not only do we do surveying, we do mapping, and we have a whole list of partnerships that we have here under the Seiler group. With 75 years of being in business, we're here to meet all your geospatial needs. And here are the presenters of today. I'll talk about myself since I'm I'm Joe Madej. I'm mapping technical support. I'm based out of the Seiler office in St. Louis. I've been with Seiler for about 6 years now, and I help out with the mapping and GIS tech support team.
And I'm Mark Schnesk. I'm Senior Application Engineer with Seiler Design Solutions. Seiler Design Solutions are Autodesk infrastructure and architectural specialists, specializing in the AEC collection and product design manufacturing collections now. We are also resellers for GeoSlam, PointCab, and drone aerial mapping of DJI, micro drones, and other sources as well. And so we're going to be here. I'm going to be here to support Joe in talking about Trimble SiteVision.
So let's talk a little bit about the agenda of what we're going to present SiteVision and needs that you can potentially use with SiteVision. And, we're going to talk about the need to visualize data in the field. Then we're going to tell you about how I collected the data, the equipment that's used, and then getting your data live in the field. Mark will talk a little bit about the SiteVision and its uses and other uses that you can use for SiteVision other than just GIS data. And then at the end, we'll have time for Q&A. And so here's the scenario that I want to create for you guys. And if your name's Peter, I apologize, but Peter works for XYZ City Sewer Department, and all the manholes have been collected with high accuracy GNSS data. So the city already has that data collected. It's known locations of the manholes, and it's time for Peter to go out and do his inspections of the manholes to see how they're holding up and collect that data. Well, recently the street department came through the neighborhoods and paved over a couple manholes. So Peter has to go out there and locate these manholes, and where one of these manholes should be at, it has now been covered over with asphalt. So how can Peter locate these missing manholes? One, he can go out there and he can search just by eye. If he has the measurements of from when the side of the road is, he could go out there and use a wheel and tape to locate that data. He could also bring his equipment back out to the field that he collected that data with a map and navigate back to that point. Or we can now start to utilize these mixed reality devices to pull that GPS data, that GIS data into the field, pair it with a cell phone, and use high accuracy to actually find the locations of these manholes. Now, one of these mixed reality devices that you can actually use is Trimble SiteVision. And I'm going to stop sharing here, and Mark's going to share and talk a little bit more about SiteVision itself.
All righty, let me get ahead and share my screen. Let's see, actually I can share the PowerPoint directly here. So let's go ahead and share that. So I'm going to go ahead and, can you see my screen okay? I'm going to go ahead and talk about Seiler Solution, this Design Solutions. This is what is SiteVision. So Trimble SiteVision is a high accuracy augmented reality system that runs on an AR-supported Android mobile device. So this is typically a cell phone. It's going to have be something that has a good built-in IMU and compass, more so than a tablet. And then it uses integrated positioning system and subscription-based services. So the picture you see on the slide I have here is the SiteVision unit as it exists today. It's a molded plastic handheld device mounted to a Trimble Catalyst antenna, which is a subscription-based positional antenna service. But this is a specialized firmware specifically for SiteVision. It's cable connected into the phone, where the phone runs an Android application that provides connection to online cloud services, position correction services, and then the unit itself also has a built-in laser EDM into the trigger, which is triggered by the phone via Bluetooth. Okay, what can you do with SiteVision? You can visualize 3D models. You can collaborate with others, so I can project my design intent into the real world, into an augmented reality, and then share and collaborate with others using the Trimble Connect platform. We can use it to measure and collect data in the field, and we can also do reports back on any kind of like clash detection or field notes that are created in the site. Applications in industries, it can be used for architecture, for both interior and exterior scenes of construction buildings. Revit models can be directly loaded up through Trimble Connect. We could take measurements in the field to see how our building fits with any other kind of obstacles. We could be used in the surveying and mapping field. Obviously, Joe's going to talk about the mapping end of things today with the GIS portion of it. For underground utilities, including property attributes, we can also use it for visualization of easement lines or any other kind of linear or model surface data. It could be used in the AEC construction, both building and infrastructure, to visualize not only, again, design and construction intent, but because of its measuring capabilities with the built-in positional antenna, to be able to add as-built data as well, take shots and pictures and discuss any kind of conflict resolution routines that need to be done. It can be used in residential construction and landscaping, again, visualization of your design. And it can be used in urban and transportation planning and utility planning. See how your impacts of any potential designs would have on a site. Okay, it brings in data from many sources: Trimble SketchUp, Trimble Business Center, Trimble Business Center VCE or TTM files. There's actually a new exporter built right in. So if you're using Trimble Business Center and you want to get your data to SiteVision, there's a direct exporter out for SiteVision AR. We'd also will bring in Autodesk products directly, DWG format, and formats from Esri products as well. And then this goes all up into Trimble Connect. So Trimble Connect acts as the warehouse and the cloud storing and processing for the data. This then gets read into the SiteVision application. And then any kind of measurements or reporting that you do from the application gets reported back to Trimble Connect. Okay, it's so easy to use. Even an application engineer like myself can use it. Just a little a video walking around, kind of show you how the size of the unit, along with any other kind of additional devices you have. So the kind of view, loading up a model very quickly, bringing that data in, and then we'll just show you, how it looks. So there's a kind of a live view through SiteVision as you're viewing your model. Okay. With that, and I have a question here. Once we get done with the presentation, we'll go ahead and we'll read the questions live and answer them. Okay. With that, Joe, I'm going to go ahead and I'm done here and stop my sharing. You can go ahead and continue on.
All right. Thanks for that, Mark. You guys can see my screen okay?
Yes.
So thanks, Mark. You definitely picked up where or set in place where I'm going to pick up and talk about the data that I collected and how do we get that into Connect and how do we visualize that data. And the data that I collected, so all the data that we're looking at today was collected by me. I did it with my Trimble Centimeter R2 with a Samsung Galaxy S10, collected with Esri Collector with Trimble Mobile Manager on a 2-meter pole. Now I'm looking for elevations here because I'm dealing with manholes. That's why I'm giving you this pertinent information and how the data was collected. I then took my data and I downloaded it from ArcGIS Online as a file geodatabase. Now, once I download that data from a file geodatabase, I can take that information and I can actually just take that zipped file and load it directly into Connect. If you have existing information that is sitting in ArcMap and you actually have access to Trimble positions, there is a data uploader that you can select your data and upload that data directly into Trimble positions to Trimble Connect and have your data ready to use with SiteVision. That is what I did here. So this is kind of the data that I took by my house, so that way you can see that information. So this is a little bit about the workflow of how you can go through ArcMap, and you can take that data of any supported file, format it, create a new map workspace inside of Connect, and load the data and wait for it to assimilate itself. This is the toughest part, to get that data into Connect, because once you're in the field, you saw that video from Mark, where Mark, the longest part with using SiteVision out in the field is you're going to wait for it to get GNSS and get its orientation. As you notice, there was one part in there where it asked him to walk 10 yards because it wants to get its bearing, so you can take and turn around and you don't have to worry about reloading your images and refreshing, because it's automatically going to do it for you live and in the field. So here's my data that's inside of Trimble Connect. If anybody is familiar with Trimble TerraFlex, it is the same platform. It's going to create a map, it's going to create your data, and we're going to load that data into SiteVision. Now, when you get into the GIS data, it looks a little bit different than potentially if you were to load a model from SketchUp, or like Mark had done with the gazebo that was in the yard. These data points come in as yellow. I'm showing you this so that way you can see the next point that I'm going to show you. When I load that data into SiteVision, that information is going to come across as a yellow dot, which is what you're seeing right here. Now, I know this manhole isn't covered, but I wanted to make sure you were able to see the information is there. Now, what's interesting about this is I can come in here and I actually took this photo inside the SiteVision application itself. Now, if there was something wrong here and this manhole was covered, I can take a photo and then I could send this. Now, say for instance, Mark is my supervisor on this project. I can send this photo to him along with a detailed SketchUp and say, hey, there's something wrong here, or here's where we need to dig up this manhole. Now, SiteVision is a very rudimentary data collection, but I can collect an XYZ and export that out as a CSV and give that information, so we can actually bring that information back into the office and know where that manhole's at to send the crew out to dig up that manhole so we can inspect it again. Trimble also has a free SiteVision visualization manager. And what this will do is you can use this with any GIS tool. And what you see here is I took the feature class, and with that feature class being labeled as manhole WGS84, my ground geometry is heights. I want to display that the display style to be a manhole. The visualization manager gives you multiple options in terms of 3D modeling, so that way you can actually see that information rather than a yellow dot. You can actually visualize that information and see a manhole structure rather than that yellow circle like you saw previously. Now, what this did was this created a JSON, and all I needed to do was save this JSON and load it into the same file format inside of Connect. And when I loaded that information back into Connect, this is the information that you saw. So this is the same manhole, but instead of seeing that yellow dot, I'm actually seeing a manhole structure over the top of that manhole. You have the ability to also use the slider bars and see the transparency, and talk about overground utilities and seeing this manhole. So not only is this a tool where it's very easy to use and get up and running, and you can put the power of your data in someone's hands, and they can go out there and collaborate and inspect this, and you really do have the ability to take photos and show your stakeholders or your project managers what this data is going to look like when you bring this back into the office, or if you're working on a project such as a building, you can take photos and see how you're going to impact that data. Mark, I'm finished with my end of things. Do we have any questions, or you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do. Actually, we have a question here, and I was just kind of getting something together. So I have an anonymous question here. Will there ever be a way to go straight from InfraWorks to SiteVision? I've noticed that when we're going through 3ds Max, pavement markings seem to become distorted. Landscaping does not come in as it shows in InfraWorks. And I answered, at this time, I'm unsure if that'll be possible because SiteVision, it's currently 3D model allowed in SiteVision are SketchUp, SKP, DWG, Revit RVT files, or IFCs. Actually, it converts the Revit to an IFC file before it brings it in. You may try importing from the FBX from InfraWorks to Navisworks and exporting the IFC file, or bringing that file into SketchUp or Format. Materials are always going to be a problem. You seem to lose some materials if they have a weird name, so you may have to add new materials to an item, but you could try that route. 3ds Max is kind of like an overkill kind of program. It does do some weird things. Also, when you're bringing it into 3ds Max, here, I'm going to share my screen again. I'll do just let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. So this is one. This is an InfraWorks model. I did this before from my last webinar when I did my gazebo. Here I'm in. This is. Let's see. I am sharing my screen, right? You can't see my Format model here.
Yes, I can see your model.
So I brought this into Format instead of 3ds Max. And you see you get a lot clearer lines this way. And then from Format, I may have to go through. I lost some of the texture models here. You may have to go through, but you can export this out as a SketchUp model. And then once it's in SketchUp, you could directly bring it into to SiteVision that way. So you could try that one. I also said Navisworks. Navisworks has a way to bring it in. Let me open this really quickly. I should be able to do it this way. Open another open question here. Let me show you this one first, and I'll answer the next question. So here I can also say append, and I'll find that, let's see, presentations, gazebo. So there, no, FBX. There we go. So I'm going to bring in that same FBX file into Navisworks. Let's see how it looks in here. Zoom extents. There we go. So here's my model in Navisworks too. So these are, if you have the collection, Now here's, it looks like it brought in my materials once I came in here. So maybe this is another way to get clear lines instead of 3ds Max. And here you can export this out as a I think you can do IFC out of here. I might not be able to. I might be thinking something differently. But you have a couple other options other than 3ds Max. If you are going to bring in stuff in 3ds Max, make sure you use the right settings. You're going to make sure, because there's two settings that you're going to use when you bring in 3ds Max. You're going to want one in particular. While I'm waiting for that to open up here, I got another question here. Can you import Revit files? Yes, directly in. Let me go to my. I just got to get to. There it is. Trimble Connect. All right. So here's Trimble Connect loading up. Let me move this over here till oops, nope, wrong one. Go back one. I got some stuff here I don't want to show on the screen. There we go. So I actually, yes, you can load Revit models directly. When you load them up in here, takes a little bit longer, but you could throw your Revit files, your RVTs right into Trimble Connect, and it will convert them to a 3D view that can be directly to SiteVision. Absolutely, Revit RVT is a direct format. And then back to this one, like I said, when you're importing FBX into 3ds Max, the formats you're going to use, and this may be at 3ds Max, I don't know how it handles long scenes, and that might be another thing that's happening when you bring in like a mile-long road. Does it lose accuracy, and is that where things start getting squiggly? I'm unsure. But there are two presets. There's Revit, and then there's Autodesk FBX generic files. I think if you go to, I'm managing link. I'm doing links. Sorry, file, import, just import. There we go. Presentations. SiteVision. There we go. Yeah, you're going to choose the Autodesk Revit. Make sure you choose the Revit format. For some reason, if you do the media and entertainment format, it does some weird things to scaling and objects like that. So that might be something that you're doing, and then you can export this out as a file format for. Sorry for kind of going in the weeds there, but I did want to make sure I answered those the best I could. So that's all I have. Do we have any more questions? Oh, I got some more questions here. Good deal. So answer a lot. Let's see. Type answer yes. There we go. Send. Yeah. So 3ds Max, we lose the geospatial features. Is that the same case with Navisworks and Format? I guess we'd have to try that. When you talk, the geospatial features. What do you mean you're losing your? If you could retype, if you could expand on that, are you losing your site location? Does that mean losing your geospatial features? Yeah. Yes, you're going to, because 3ds Max always does a shift. There is a if you want to send me your information, I'll show my email at the end. If you want to send me your information, I have another webinar that I did where I did an export from InfraWorks into the 3ds Max Interactive VR, and there was a shift that had to be made in 3ds Max, and you have to note that shift when you import if you import a particular file in. If it's shifted long enough, it'll give you a message that'll show you how much X and how much Y it's shifted it. You may have to take that into account when you bring it back in or you export it out. Yeah, that's why 3ds Max is not my favorite tool when it comes to SiteVision. Plus, it's a difficult tool to learn if you haven't used it. I like Format a little bit better. SketchUp Free might be even worth it as well. Okay. I don't know if that answered your question or not, but I understand kind of what you're getting at, and I don't have a cut and dried answer for that. I'd have to experiment a little on that. All right, that's all the questions we have. I'll just put that now. I'll just put unsure for now. Does anybody else have any questions they'd like to ask at this time? All right. Well, thank you very much for attending. Joe, I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to add, but I will send our contact details here on the screen. If you have any questions, you can contact Joe at map support at seilergeo.com. They have a toll-free number, 844-400-1402. If you want to contact me, Mark, you can email me, or actually all the Seiler Design Solutions team at cadtechnical@seilerinst.com. It's a phone number. I also ask if you like, you can also view our blog at www.seiler-ds.com/blog. We'll have a copy of this recording up on our blog. It'll be on our YouTube page as well, linked through that, plus other tips and tricks and other goodies. Joe, you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're good. Thank you guys for joining us. And if you have any questions or want demos, feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help. And Mark and I work in the same office, so we work together, and we can get a SiteVision demo ready for you guys.
Yeah, anytime. If you'd like some help or like a demo, yeah, please contact us. Thank you very much for coming. And everybody have a great afternoon and a great day.